Hello students, I am Darshan Deodhe from English Department, KTHM College, Nasik. Today in this video I am going to talk about what is short story, because we are going to see a short story by Narayan called Shadow. See, in Shadow there is a fine story. See, what is a short story? All of you know what is story. Story contains series of events. Okay, it means this happened, that happened. Okay, it means story contains series of events. Here is a definition of short story. How short story is different from a simple story. Let's see. What is a short story? A short story is a work of short narrative prose that is usually centered around one single event. It is limited in scope and has an introduction, body, and conclusion. Although a short story has much in common with a novel, it is written with much greater precision. Anytime you are asked to write an essay that is based on a piece of fiction, the following guide and questions may help you. See, short story is a piece of literature and it is said to be a kind of miniature of novel. It means just as novel has characters, similarly short story has characters. A novel has theme, similarly a short story has theme. Okay, short story is a miniature of, it means small form of novel, or just like novel, short story also contains a story. See, short story has a plot. Okay, now how plot is different from a simple story? How plot is different from a simple story? See, my question is how plot is different from a simple story. Okay, a story includes series of events where why certain events are taking place, it is not explained with logical reason, but in plot all happenings have a reason behind it. Okay, it means why certain thing happens, it has a reason. It means in plot there is logical relation between various incidents, whereas in story and there is no similar kind of logical relation between events. We are simply given a series of events in story. Let's see the elements of short story. What are the elements of short story? See, setting, characters, plot, conflict, theme, point of view, tone, and style. Let's see one by one. See, here is a brief introduction to all these elements of short story. See, short story has a setting. Now, what do you mean by setting? It means no incident happens in vacuum. Okay, it has certain setting. It means at what location it happens, when did it happen, likewise. Where and when is the story set? Setting represents both the physical location and also the time, that is to say past, present, future, and the social and cultural conditions in which the characters exist. It means when we tell someone a story or when we read a short story, we come to know as to where the incidents are happening. Okay, when does it happen? Okay, from setting we come to know the location and time frame. Second, Characters. See, characters, who are characters? Characters are nothing but people who are acting, or we are the cause of certain incident, or who are the agent of certain action, or who are the cause behind happenings. Okay, a person or animal or really anything personified. There can be one main character or many, and often there are secondary characters, but not always. Let me see. Sometimes there are primary characters, sometimes there are secondary characters. It means secondary characters' role is not so important as compared to the primary character's role. Okay. Third, plot. Recently we have talked about plot as to how plot is different from story. See, it means in story we have simply a series of incidents, whereas in plot we have a logical relationship between different incidents as to why certain incident happens. We are given a reason that of in plot. See, the plot consists of the events that happen in the story. In a plot, you typically find an introduction, rising action, a climax, the falling action, and a resolution. Plot is often represented as an arc. Plot is often represented as an arc. To learn about plot in detail, we will see next slide. See, brief introduction to elements of short story. See, the fourth element here is conflict. Every story must have a conflict. Okay, that is to say, a challenge or a problem. Conflict refers to what? A challenge or problem around which the plot is based. Without conflict, the story will have no purpose or trajectory. It means conflict helps us to sustain our attention. Next, theme. Idea, belief, moral lesson, or insight. It is the central argument that the author is trying to make the reader understand. The theme is the why of the story. It means, see, every story, every short story has a theme. Theme means a central idea around which something is discussed in the story. Okay, or around which the story or the plot of the story revolves. Okay. Point of view. Point of view. See, who is telling the story? Point of view refers to who is telling the story. See, there can be first person point of view, there can be second person point of view. Okay, if the story is narrated from first person point of view, then we find the mention of I, pronoun I. Or if the story is told from the third person perspective, then we find pronouns as he, she, it. See, the third person pronoun I is very often used in stories. Okay, it means the third person point of view is very often used by writers. Limited one character's perspective. It means these are other perspective, multiple, many characters perspective, or omniscient, all-knowing narrator. Second person view is not often used for writing stories. Okay, it means we find third person point of view in narrating a story where the writer simply holds the camera and captures as to what is happening around him. Okay, he doesn't involve himself, rather he tells a story as an observer. He doesn't involve himself and he doesn't make use of a pronoun called I. Next, tone. What is the tone? See, the overall emotional tone or meaning of the story. Tone refers to what? The overall emotional bearing of a story. It could be happy, funny, sad, depressed. Tone can be portrayed in multiple ways through word and grammar choices, choice of theme, imagery, and description, symbolism, and the sounds of the words in combination. That is to say, rhyme, rhythm, musicality. Next is style. This is how things are said. Word choices, sentence structure, dialogue, metaphor, simile, hyperbole. Style contributes significantly to tone. Okay, in simple words, we may say style simply refers to the fact that how things are said, how the story is narrated. Okay, how the words are manipulated for different effects. Okay, next. Now see, if you think of a plot has arc-like structure. Okay, see, at the very beginning we find exposition. It means against what background the story is set. Okay, exposition. Here, as far as the story shadow is concerned, we find a poor family or a simple family where there is a demise of a family member. Okay, and see how conflict is built here. It means rising action. It means how problems occur in the family member's life. Here, conflict refers to problems. Okay, it means the family finds it very difficult to forget the demise of family member. And what happens? As they are trying to cope up with the situation, see, some people try to make a film which in the dead person is acting as a star actor. It means the dead person is starring a film and there is a procession in the city or in the town. It means people are welcoming this move of the producers to launch a film starring the dead man, but for the family it is very difficult to see the film and again remind themselves or get to know as to how the dead person had behaved in his life. See, climax. What is the climax? Climax refers to the highest point in the story where we find emotional, what we can say here, it means climax is the point where we find incident of highest emotional importance. Falling action. Falling action refers to the it means denouement, or a falling action, it means where after the incidents of highest importance, how the characters try to cope up with the situation, how they try to come to reality, how they try to forget what problems they had and how they try to adjust with real life, and finally resolution and how they start leading their life again as a normal human being. Next, it means see here it is given exposition, beginning of the story where characters and setting are introduced. Rising action, where the main characters face a series of conflicts. Climax, the most exciting part of the story, when we learn the outcome. Falling action, events leading to the end of the story, and resolution, end of the story. This is the plot diagram. Now, plot comprises of series of incidents. These incidents are shown by the dots. It means there are multiple incidents, and how out of these incidents just one incident makes a climax. It is shown at the top here with a red dot. It means one incident of higher importance than the others. This plot diagram shows how the main events in a short story are organized into a plot. And in the following action, it means there are some actions which try to which try to help the characters to cope up with the situation. It means it's a kind of de-escalating activity. For climax, we have series of events. It means escalating activities, and after climax we have de-escalating activities, and finally we have a resolution. See about the author R.K. Narayan, Rasipuram Krishnaswamy Iyer Narayan. He was born on 10 October 1906 and lived up till 13 May 2001. He was an Indian writer known for his work set in the fictional South Indian town of Malgudi. He was a leading author of early Indian literature in English along with Mulkraj Anand and Raja Rao. The fictional town of Malgudi was first introduced in Malgudi days through the escapades of Swami and his friends. Narayan highlighted the social context and routinely life of every individual through his characters. Narayan short stories explored with humor and compassion, which are considered to be the energy of an ordinary life. Narayan received many awards and honors, including the Padma Vibhushan and the Padma Bhushan, India's second and third highest civilian awards. He was also nominated to the Rajya Sabha, the upper house of India's parliament. Now we are given that, it means we are given the information that this particular story, Shadow, is taken from a collection of short stories called Malgudi Days. See, Malgudi Days is a collection of short stories by R.K. Narayan, which was published in 1943. The book was republished outside India in 1982 by Penguin Classics. The book includes 32 stories. It means the collection of Malgudi Days contains 32 stories, all set in fictional town of Malgudi, located in South India. Every story is based on the problems faced by nation in general during that era. It means, see, Narayan has lived through the British regime. It means he must have seen the freedom struggle. Author R.K. Narayan lived from 1906 to 2000 up till 2001. He was educated in India. and was the author of 14 novels, numerous short stories and essays, a memoir, and 3 retold myths. His work, championed by Graham Greene, who became a close friend, was often compared to that of Dickens, Chekhov, Faulkner, and Flannery O'Connor, among others. October 10, 2006 was the centennial of Narayan's birth. Genres, it means short story fiction and short story collections. These are the genres tried by Malgudi, R.K. Narayan. Success of Malgudi Days, it means the Malgudi Days story has been applauded around the world. Actor and director Let Shankar Nag had directed the televised series of stories of Malgudi Days in 1986. It means all the 32 stories were serialized. Filmmaker Kavita Lankesh has redirected the series, which was telecasted in 2006. The Malgudi Days series was very popular. Do read the book and try to fathom as to what Narayan is sharing in it. See powerful magical portraits of all kinds of people and comprising stories written over almost 40 years. Malgudi Days represent Narayan's imaginary city vividly. On R.K. Narayan's 108th birthday, Google commemorated by featuring a Google Doodle showing him behind a copy of Malgudi Days in 2014. Thank you, students.